Ole Miss linebacker Chance Campbell joins us here on this Monday afternoon, as he does each and every Monday afternoon, for a visit with Chance Campbell. It's brought to you by The Rogue. The Rogue at 4450 I-55 North in Jackson. It is the place to go for their new collegiate line. You see Chance wearing it over the course of the last several weeks, and you can go check that out for yourself. They got lots of Ole Miss gear. If you are an Ole Miss fan, if you got family that are Ole Miss fans, if you happen to have family who are Mississippi State or LSU or Alabama, whatever the case may be, they've got that gear as well. Make a great gift as we get into the holiday season. But obviously, 4450 I-55 North in Jackson's the place to go. And you can also shop at therogue.com. Therogue.com. Tell Luke Abney and all the people there that you heard about it as part of MPW Digital and because of our weekly visit with Chance, and we'd all appreciate that. Chance, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. We'll start talking. We'll move forward pretty much this week because it's a huge week here. Big game, obviously. Game day coming to town, all that stuff. But I'll ask about this first. You guys beat Liberty the other day. Really strong defensive effort from you guys against a quarterback that was getting a lot of hype, still getting a lot of hype as a first-round pick. I know you had a few occasions to get up close and personal with Malik Willis. What kind of a player was he?
Yeah, he's super dynamic. I didn't till I had seen the tape and started studying. I thought he was like a 6'4", 6'5" guy, and I had all the wrong impression. He's probably about 6'1". He's a big dude, but he's like cut up. Like, he's jacked. His legs are super strong, and he's like crazy fast too. Like, gets 0 to top speed. And then his arm, everybody knows about his arm. So that dude's a super complete quarterback. So, and you can see that when you're playing on the field with him.
When you're going up against a guy like him and he starts to get a little momentum, do you kind of have an oh shit moment there where it's like, okay, we got it. We can't let him just get rolling here.
Yeah, you don't want to give that guy any more confidence because he has every reason to be confident. So when that starts to happen, you're kind of like, anytime you start to have a little bit of a slide, you want to get back and get your mojo going. But when that happens, you want to get yourself back going, and you kind of want to stop him from getting going.
Lane Kiffin talked about this Saturday. I'm curious from a player's perspective. It's a non-league game. I know it was Hugh Freeze's return and all that stuff, but you guys had just gone through a stretch where you'd played, and I might get this wrong a little bit, but you played Alabama, and then you played Arkansas, and then you played Tennessee, and then you played LSU, and then you play Auburn. You played these big rivalry SEC games in Tuscaloosa and in Oxford, and the game in Knoxville and back in Oxford, and then you go to Auburn to play these games in these massive settings and all this stuff. And you come home for a non-league game, and it's 11 a.m., and it's a little sleepy, and you pop out to a 24-0 lead. Is it hard to keep the foot on the gas? Is it hard not to kind of relax a little bit? Lane talked about that after the game, that, maybe it was just human nature a little bit, something you have to fight, and that maybe as a team, you guys didn't fight it as well as he would have liked to have seen it fought. But just from a human element, up 24-0 at that point, is it hard to keep the intensity going?
Yeah, it's I don't know. I think when you're in that situation, I don't know. I look at it a little bit differently, just because 24 isn't something that I'm super comfortable with. Like, a 24-point lead in my mind is a 3-possession game, which it's probably you never really should feel comfortable on a football field. But I don't know. I've seen how fast my idea of offense has changed a little bit. Seeing how fast our offense can score.
Yeah.
And then knowing that they have a guy who's crazy talented on the other side and how quickly he could get it done. So I don't know if it's a comfortable like a you're not worried thing as much as it is just a ease of staying in cruise control, thinking that, okay, yeah, we're just gonna keep going doing the same thing, and that's just the wrong way to approach it. You gotta keep trying to raise your level, because if you're not trying to raise your level, you think you're staying flat and you're just not. So if, obviously the goal is never to stay flat, but if you keep trying to raise your level, at worst you'll stay flat. And in that situation, we'd much rather have the same performance from the first half that we did the second. You want to keep getting better, but if that's the worst that happens, you're in a better situation. So I think it's more of a situation where we just came out flat.
You guys get the win. You're 7-2 now. You get ready to play Texas A&M at home. It's a battle of two top 12 teams. They're ranked number 11 in both of the major national polls. You guys are right behind them at number 12. There's New Year's Six bowl implications. There's all of that stuff. And then on top of that, ESPN's College Game Day is coming to town, which is a big deal here. It's the second time in the program's history. Do you even remember anything of 7 years ago? So you would have been probably my son's age, about 14 at the time. Do you remember anything about the Ole Miss Alabama game in 2014 when Katy Perry was in the Grove?
Was that the game with the catch? Is that the one where it like bounced off and then they caught it like running on like some deep ball?
No, that was Auburn, Georgia.
That was Auburn, Georgia. Okay,
yeah.
Then no, I don't really. Then they're probably not.
Yeah, this was Katy Perry, and she did the corn dog thing in the Grove, and you've heard about LSU, and people say Baton Rouge smells like a corn dog. I never really.
Is that what that's from?
I think that's where that's from. They say that Baton Rouge smells like corn dogs, and as someone who's been to Baton Rouge a bunch, it does have a unique smell and atmosphere and stuff, but I've never matched it with corn dogs, and I don't know whether that's my Louisiana roots that I'm being biased or something. I have no LSU ties at all. I don't know what that. Anyway. Just I've never, but that's what that was. And she held up corn dogs and stuff, and it was quite a day in Oxford, as you might imagine. When Ole Miss won, they tore the goalpost down. The goalpost made their way to the square. Katy Perry was crowd surfing in Funkies later that evening. So yeah, it was quite a day in Oxford. So Game Day coming back for the first time since then. I'm curious, as a player, obviously you're not going to be out in the Grove and stuff, but the game's not until 6 o'clock. That broadcast starts at, I guess, 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning. Do you typically, when you wake up on game day on days that you're not playing at 11 a.m. or whatever, do you turn that on?
Yeah, I mean, I'll normally if we have an afternoon or a night game, like our block is a little bit later, like that we get a little bit of free time. And so I don't really get to see too much of it. Sometimes I'll cut it on. But I've also never had a situation where we were the game day place. So I don't know what I'm going to do because I love College Game Day. Like I think I've talked about before, like one of my favorite things to do like on a bye week is just nothing and just watch college football all day long. And obviously that starts the game day. But I don't know what I'm going to do when we're College Game Day. So I'm not sure yet. I don't know if you can watch it. Maybe I'll get like my folks at home to record it. But I don't know.
Yeah, I suspect you'll get someone to put it on the DVR somewhere. That being said, like you're pretty focused, and we've talked about this each week. I mean, you're a creature of habit. You've got your game day routine. You don't have a hard time getting up for a game. Every game's the next game's the big game. You're that way, but in the spirit of full transparency, not every player's that way. Some guys struggle with getting too up, too down, not being up enough. In terms of your team, and I'm asking you to sort of guess here, the presence of game day, does that get your team, not you individually, but your team a little bit more amped up for a week like this, where obviously there's no getting around it? This is a huge game, and it's one of the highest profile games on the slate for the week.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think you can tell there's a slight difference between I don't know, I look back to there's a difference between like our Austin P game and maybe like a Bama with LSU with all the festivities that they had. But like maybe I don't know, maybe it's me just not being as accustomed to playing in the SEC as like some of the other guys are. But like these SEC games, they all kind of feel like College Game Day games. Like the fanfare is crazy, home and away. Like the anticipation's kind of nuts in every situation, even if you're playing a team that's not necessarily like highly ranked, or if they are, it's just maybe even a little bit more crazy. So I don't know that I can tell like a dip. Like if someone didn't tell me that we were College Game Day, I don't know that I would have noticed the difference other than the one that I would expect from guys getting ready to go play like a very, very good Texas A&M team.
Speaking of Texas A&M, they kind of struggled a little bit early. They had a quarterback change early in the season because of an injury, and Zach Calzada's kind of settled in a little bit. He's playing better. They've got those two strong running backs. I mean, you know what's coming when you play them. I know you're a guy that's probably already studied some film. When you look at them on film, what do you see? Yeah,
I mean, really what you just said, they have, I mean, if not the best, one of the best running back tandems in the country. Those guys are super dangerous. They have like slightly different running tendencies, but they complement each other really well. Their line's starting to come together, and Calzada as a quarterback is like really. I mean, you talked to he didn't start in the beginning of the year, but he like you don't see him and think back up. Like that dude's a really good quarterback. And he plays within the offense well, and then when he has to kind of extend, he has the ability to do that too. I think he broke off. I remember what game it was, but I remember watching a clip where he broke off a 30-yard run and it looked pretty effortless. So that dude can do a lot of dangerous things. So that offense is one that's like it's a big challenge for us.
I think I know the answer to this, but I'll ask anyway because I think fans are curious. Is it difficult to is it difficult to just prepare for the game, focus for the game, prepare for the X's and O's and everything that's coming, preparing for the different weapons that they have and the ways you're going to try to attack them and not think about, hey, this could be a trip to the Sugar Bowl or the Fiesta Bowl could be on the line. This is, the winner of this is 8-2 and probably in the top 10 next week and New Year's Six bowls and all that stuff. Is it difficult to block that stuff out?
Not really, because I hadn't really thought about it until you said that. I guess for me, like I don't know, maybe I'm a little lucky in the sense. I mean, this isn't a lucky thing, but I've never had a bowl game. So like the idea of playing in a bowl game is still something that I'm excited about. And that's not something where it's like I'm setting my sights low, like happy for a 6-win deal, but like I don't know, like winning games is such a great feeling. So like it's sometimes hard to focus past that, like to be like, oh, like I want to win this game because I want to be in this situation. It's like, nah, I just really want to win this game because winning games is like probably one of the best feelings on the planet. So like it's not super hard for me to look past it because if if we were in a different situation, like you can't change anything. But like if we were 8-1 instead of 7-2, and then like I wouldn't look any differently at this game if like maybe those things weren't at risk anymore. It'd just be like, man, I really want to go win this game.
It's one of the things that always strikes me about you is your self-discipline in that regard. I mean, a lot of guys say stuff like that, and always when I hear you say it, I'm like, no, he really means it. He's just kind of locked in on individual things. And I say that to say this: you've been very disciplined this year about social media. And so when I saw that you had tweeted the other day, I was like, wait, Chance tweeted? And then I pulled it up and it was about your brother. And I was like, that's about what I would expect if someone told me that Chance Campbell would tweet all of a sudden in week 10 or whatever of the season, that it would not be about him or even his team. It would be about something else. I can tell you as a dad, I'm getting to something, I promise. I'm not taking over the segment. As a dad, I love nothing more than seeing my 3 kids support one another, whether it's privately, publicly, but I love it like in our family text chain, when someone does something good and the other 2 siblings are like, yeah, that's awesome, way to go, or whatever. And so as the dad part of me, I'm sure your dad felt this way, seeing you tweet about your brother getting the preferred walk-on offer at Ole Miss, the dad in me thought that was really cool. For you, how neat was that to find out, to hear from your brother, or however you heard about it from your parents or whatever, that he had gotten the preferred walk-on offer from Ole Miss to play quarterback?
Yeah, I mean it was awesome. I mean we talk pretty frequently. He's at Fork Union, so it's a little difficult because they like no phones. They're like in fatigues the whole time. Like
Yeah.
I've gotten a couple pictures from him, and it's funny because like you said, I don't really post much on social media. But my mom's like, hey, these can't go anywhere. So it's just like it's kind of like a lockdown deal. So he's got a landline in his room that I can dial up and we can call like during a specific window. So we talk all the time. But like, I mean, I'm just super proud of him because that's a hard deal to do. It's hard to be 20 and be, away from home. I mean, it's, for him, first time away from home for the first time. Post grad is like, in my mind, it's a lot like JUCO. It's just a tough process. And then he was supposed to be like,
yeah, his story's really good. Tell his story, because his story is not your typical, not that I'm knocking to a typical post-grad guy, but a lot of post-grad guys are guys that got out of college. They got out of high school. They really didn't have the offer they wanted. They go to post-grad to try to improve their stock a little bit. Trace's story is different.
Yeah. So he got hurt. He had a hip fracture his freshman, sophomore year. And then he had 2 torn labrums that he played at quarterback. So like, I mean, I like to think that I'm a tough guy. That he's probably the toughest dude I know. I don't know anybody. I don't know a quarterback who could do that. Like he changed his arm angles just to figure out a way to throw the ball. But he ended up doing well. Like he figured it out, and he was going to go to Air Force, going to go play Air Force, was all set. But he has ADHD, so he had an Adderall prescription. And I guess there was some confusion on their end. So he had signed to Air Force, but then got DQ'd for that. And that was super late in the game. And then obviously with the whole COVID situation, missed his senior year of tape. I think they tried to get some in the spring, but the school tried, but it was a tough situation.
Sure.
So I didn't really have the tape, but still figured it out. Was going to go play quarterback. And then the DQ happened, and that's like, I think this happened in late March. So like kind of get handcuffed, and like schools had already kind of figured it out. So again, even more reason to be proud of him. Just kind of put his head down. I was like, I'm gonna go post grad. Did that, is killing it. His tape is fantastic. And then so to see him get an opportunity to go walk on here and play at one of probably the best spots that anybody could ask for to play quarterback, let alone any position. I was just proud of him and super happy because it's something he earned.
So I know the fans would get mad at me if I didn't ask this question. So where is he in the decision-making process?
I don't even know. He was supposed to have a game. Sorry, this is Monday. On Saturday. It's just another reason why like that dude, like, I mean, physically tough for all the things I just explained, but mentally crazy too. Because I mean, you go to post grad and games are what you live for, because you want to go put some tape together. And he's getting ready to go play a game, and 30 minutes before, a team that was coming up from Georgia, they're in Virginia, 30 minutes before the game, calls and says they're not going to make it. So, like, in that schools, I don't know. I know Georgia to Virginia is not a 30-minute drive, so that was known in advance. But,
Yeah.
So he kept his head on, then just got some throws, put some of those on tape. So I remember that was, like, the majority of our conversation. And then I found out, or he told me a little bit later in that day, that he had talked to people there, and that was an option. So we didn't really talk about like kind of where he was. It was just more just excited for him and happy for him, like, about the opportunity.
Is your family coming down this weekend?
Yeah, so I'm excited to see them again. It's always great. We have a 3 home game stretch, which is pretty awesome. So I get to spend some good time with them.
So I'll finish with this because I'm curious. I know at the end of the season, I'll probably say, "Hey, what's this been like for you?" But you've had some SEC experience. They have too now, and I know they had plenty of Big Ten environment from in the past. Your dad at Penn State and you at Maryland and stuff. What has the family's impression of SEC football been?
I probably speak probably more. I guess is all in the same boat, but like their experience of like football in Oxford, like game days at Oxford, and it's like pretty in line with a lot of things I've said, but just how friendly people are. Like that, they'll go through the Grove and like people will like welcome them into their tents and say hello. Like people are friendly. They're like, which is funny because like the environments in the SEC you think super hostile.
Yeah.
But like while that's true, like the people there are super nice. So it's like cool. It's like they haven't seen the crazy fanfare. Like I think they said there was a Dr. Pepper booth or something the other like one of the weeks where they were just like giving out free stuff.
Yeah.
My dad was like, "This is sick," and I was like, "Yeah, it's kind of cool." So they love it.
Well, hey, I know you got a big week ahead of you, so I won't keep you any longer. Best of luck on Saturday against Texas A&M. Hope your family gets down safely, and congratulations to your brother on the offer. Appreciate the visit as always.
Thank you. Appreciate it.